I came across this news. I don't know how authentic this news is. It's about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that world lawyers have finally agreed to intercede in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. Said to sanction Nigerian judiciary or whatever. I don't know how possible something like that can be. But I want you to listen to this audio. Watch with me. Let us know your opinion in the comment section. If this something like this is really possible. I don't know how true this story may be, but just listen.
My people, today's story is shaking both Nigeria and the international community. The headline everywhere now says, world lawyers finally agreed to intercede for Nnamdi Kanu, sanction Nigeria judiciary against Biafra freedom. When you hear that, you know it's serious because for the first time in a long while, lawyers from different parts of the world are uniting to take a stand about something happening right here in Nigeria. Please, before I continue, just like this video, and subscribe to the channel so you'll always get every fresh gist the moment it drops. Now, this whole thing started after months of tension, court cases, and public outcry over how Nnamdi Kanu's matter has been handled. People have been shouting that his case has dragged too long, that justice is either being delayed or denied, depending on who you ask. On the other side, the Nigerian judiciary keeps insisting that they are following due process, that the law must take its full course, and nobody, no matter how influential, is above the law. But recently, what turned this whole situation into a global matter is that several international legal bodies, human rights organizations, and global lawyers said they could no longer ignore what they were seeing. According to reports reaching everywhere, these groups are now saying they want to intervene, not to take over the case, but to make sure that justice is done in a fair and transparent way. They claim that the Nigerian judiciary has been under heavy political pressure over this particular issue, and they want to monitor things more closely. Some of them are even calling for sanctions, not the kind that targets ordinary citizens, but the type that focuses on individuals in the system who might have used their power wrongly. That alone has caused plenty of reactions, both online and offline. Now let's talk about why this is such a big deal. You see, when outside legal bodies begin to show interest in a country's internal judicial process, it means they believe something might have gone wrong. And whether or not you support Nnamdi Kanu, the issue here goes beyond one man. It's about how justice is seen in Nigeria. Many Nigerians are now wondering, if the world has to step in before fairness can happen, what does that say about our system? People who support Nnamdi Kanu are happy about this development. They say it is long overdue that finally someone outside Nigeria is paying attention. But others are asking if this move might affect Nigeria's image internationally. Because when world lawyers and human rights groups start talking about sanctions or oversight, it sends a message that there's a crisis of trust in the country's judiciary. Remember to like this video right now, please. It helps more people see this gist. And if you haven't subscribed, kindly do so. You know we always give you real-time stories, the way they're happening. Back to the matter, Nnamdi Kanu's supporters have been saying that his detention has dragged on for too long without clear progress. They've been holding protests, writing letters, and even reaching out to international organizations. It seems all that pressure is finally paying off because this global response didn't just appear overnight. It took months of petitions, letters, and consistent public advocacy. Now, this new move by world lawyers means Nigeria could soon face questions from international courts or organizations that deal with justice and human rights. Some groups have already mentioned that if it's found that court procedures were ignored or that the defendant's rights were violated, they could recommend further investigations. But of course, you know how things work. The Nigerian government has remained firm, saying the country's judiciary is independent and that nobody outside has the right to interfere in our legal matters. Government officials are warning that the sovereignty of Nigeria must be respected and that external influence might only complicate the matter. Meanwhile, on social media, Nigerians are divided. Some are clapping for the international lawyers, saying, yes, so finally someone is doing something, while others are warning that too much foreign interference could open doors to unnecessary pressure on our institutions. Now, what's interesting about this entire issue is that it has drawn attention back to a wider question. How strong is the Nigerian judiciary? Can it really operate without fear or favor? Because one thing this case has exposed is that public confidence in the judicial system is low. People now think some cases take too long while others move too fast, depending on who is involved. If you're still watching, thank you. And please don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss part 2 of this kind of gist. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Why would global lawyers suddenly decide to intercede? Usually, these types of interventions only happen when international observers believe there's a pattern, a consistent situation where certain rights are being violated or legal procedures are being ignored. It's not just about one trial, it's about how the system is functioning overall. And because Nnamdi Kanu's name is tied to Biafra, a very sensitive topic, it makes everything more complicated. The world sees this as both a legal issue and a political one. Nigeria, on the other hand, insists it's purely a security and criminal matter. But the more both sides talk, the more the public gets confused. Some human rights groups are now saying that if Nigeria doesn't handle this case properly, it could affect foreign relations. International investors, foreign governments, and even humanitarian organizations are watching to see how this story ends. Because when the rule of law is questioned in any country, it affects confidence in everything else, including the economy and politics. Many Nigerians, especially young people, are also speaking up on social media, saying they want transparency. They want to know why the court process has dragged on and why there's so much secrecy around some parts of the case. They believe that if justice is truly being served, then there's nothing to hide. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And please make sure you've subscribed. We share these updates in simple language so everyone can understand what's really going on. Another thing that's making this matter hotter is that several global lawyers have said they are prepared to send official reports to their respective governments. That could mean that in the coming weeks or months, we might see some diplomatic moves. Discussions between embassies, maybe even debates at international forums about Nigeria's human rights record. But the question remains, will this actually change anything? Will this pressure make Nigeria speed up the trial, or will it make things even slower? Because once foreign involvement enters a case like this, it can sometimes make local authorities defensive. There are also people saying that this could be a chance for Nigeria to show the world that its judiciary is capable. If the government handles things openly and lawfully, it could restore some of the lost confidence. But if more violations are recorded, then the international pressure might continue to grow. And you know the truth. In today's world, once something becomes global news, it doesn't just fade away. Social media makes sure that every little update gets amplified. Every time something happens in court, people around the world will be watching, tweeting, and reacting. That's why this headline carries so much weight. World lawyers agree to intercede. It means this story has now moved beyond Nigeria's borders. Please, if you're still with me, click the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who need to hear this story clearly. Now let's think about what this could mean for Biafra supporters. For them, this is a moral victory. It feels like the world is finally listening. For years, they've been saying their voices weren't being heard, and now, with international lawyers stepping in, they believe the fight for fairness is gaining recognition. However, those who oppose the movement are warning that this could bring more division because they fear that international attention could embolden separatist elements. They're saying, let Nigeria solve its issues internally without interference. The reality is that both sides have a point. International involvement can sometimes help ensure fairness, but it can also create diplomatic tension. The key will be how both Nigeria's judiciary and government respond to these new developments in a calm and transparent way.